If your gut continues to feel worse, no matter what you try, it might be a healthy carb that sneaks into almost every food on the grocery store. You might be dealing with what Dr. William Davis, an expert in gut health, calls wheat belly. I'm going to break down exactly why modern wheat behaves differently now than it did decades ago, why it can quietly wreck your digestion, and why taking a break from it can help you heal your gut very fast. I'll also walk you through exactly what you can eat instead without having to cut carbs entirely. My name's Andrew, a certified wellness and nutrition coach, and I see this all the time with clients that have transitioned to healthier habits. They've cut down on sugar, they're exercising more, and they eat healthy, but they're still dealing with some bloating, some brain fog, and some inflammation. Here's the part that most people never hear. The wheat that your grandparents ate is not the same wheat that we're eating today. Starting in the late 20th century, wheat was aggressively hybridized. In other words, it was modified, but not to make it healthier, to make it higher yield, more pest resistant, easier to process, and cheaper to mass produce. They changed the actual structure of the grain. Modern wheat contains different gluten proteins, especially one called gliadin that your gut has a very hard time breaking down. And it's not so much about being gluten intolerant, it's about these proteins attacking your gut lining, leading to gut permeability or leaky gut over time. Think about it this way. Your gut lining is like a fine mesh filter. And when you're younger, it's flexible, it's resilient, it fixes itself very quickly. But as you get older, as you've dealt with more courses of antibiotics, you have more stress, more environmental toxins, things like alcohol, travel, poor sleep, and just decades of wear and tear, that mesh filter just has a harder time protecting itself. So foods that you were able to eat that were once fine, they suddenly lead to consistent bloating, joint pain, brain fog, or just general fatigue. I constantly hear people say, I don't eat sugar, I stick to whole wheat, I'm eating really clean. Yet their digestion keeps getting worse. One mistake a lot of people make, myself included early on, was assuming that whole wheat was the healthier option. But unfortunately, with how prevalent the modification of modern wheat has become, there's really no wheat that's healthier. Now here's the good news. You don't need to give up wheat forever. You should still be able to enjoy pizza occasionally. And you don't need to swear off carbs. You don't need to go through extreme restriction. What you need is what I call a 3-week wheat holiday. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Now, why 21 days? Because that's just enough time to get your gut inflammation lowered, give your immune system a chance to calm down, and ultimately allow the microbes in your gut to start producing more mucus to protect that mesh lining. Most people notice changes before the end of week 2. And the first things that normally improve, less bloating after meals, more regular digestion and bowel movements, better morning energy, and just overall better cognition and less brain fog throughout the day. And for those dealing with joint pain, that stiffness usually eases too. Now let me be really clear about what not to do. And this part is very important. You do not want to go and replace all of your wheat products with ultra-processed gluten-free junk. Rice crackers, gluten-free cookies, seed bread. Those might sound like the solutions, but they often make things worse, especially if you haven't given your gut that chance to heal yet. Which leads me to another common question I ask, which is, what should I eat instead? Let's make this really easy. I'm gonna give you the simplest path forward, but then I'm also gonna give you 7 wheat swaps so that you have options. Let's start with the 7 swaps. Number 1, using wheat or jasmine rice can be much easier on your stomach. Now these are still forms of grain, but they tend to be easier to digest, they're lower residue, and they can provide reliable energy. My tip though, make sure you rinse them and soak them before you cook them. Swap number 2 is potatoes or sweet potatoes. Both are loaded with nutrients, so they provide strong satiety signals or they make you feel full without the gut irritation. The one caveat I would make is if you're trying to lose weight or you're dealing with some insulin resistance, I would choose the sweet potatoes over the regular potatoes. Swap number 3 is steel-cut oats. Oftentimes, these are certified gluten-free, and if you soak them and cook them well enough, they can be very easy on the digestive tract. I just want to be clear, steel-cut oats are different and better than regular oats or oatmeal. The 4th swap is fruit. Fruit is nature's easiest carb to digest when your gut is sensitive. And to take it a step further, if you stick to low glycemic fruits like berries that are loaded with polyphenols, they can actually help speed up the process of healing your gut. You just want to make sure you're rinsing and washing them thoroughly because any degree of pesticides or herbicides is going to be painful for your gut lining. The fifth swap is quinoa. Now this is a pseudo grain that's actually a seed. It's gluten-free, it's rich in protein and fiber, so it can support feeding your gut bacteria without leading to gut irritation. The sixth on the list is other root vegetables. This might be carrots or turnips, and if you can tolerate it, things like squash sometimes work as well. The seventh and the last swap is one that I would put a major caveat around, and it's corn-based carbohydrates. Corn is another plant that has been massively hybridized, and you find corn derivatives in almost every food on the grocery store shelf. But it's often tolerated better than wheat. So if you're looking for a swap for something like a tortilla, minimally processed corn tortillas are definitely a better option. Now here's the psychology piece. Keeping carbs in your diet instead of trying to eliminate everything reduces the all or nothing thinking that ends up leading to cravings and yo-yo dieting. Most people fail when they try and do a gut reset because they cut everything at once. And oftentimes that leads to decision fatigue and excess stress, which also hurts your gut. All or nothing thinking is something I try to help all of my clients avoid, so I'd like to help you do that as well. Now, one important caveat here. This isn't a rule for everyone, but it's very important for some. You should be especially cautious with wheat consumption if you're dealing with any of the following four things. Number one is an autoimmune condition. Number two is chronic bloating or IBS or IBS-like symptoms. Number three is joint pain after meals. And number four is brain fog after you eat bread or pasta. If you fall into any one of those categories, I can almost guarantee you that eating wheat is going to act like a knob, turning up the degree of inflammation. And as we know, inflammation is a root cause for almost every chronic disease. So here's the smart approach. Avoid all wheat for 21 days. Then once you get through the holiday, introduce it very slowly. Start with one serving, one meal, and then pay attention to how you feel for the 48 hours afterwards. Your body is going to provide feedback very quickly. And no matter what, you should definitely be sticking to the 80-20 or the 90-10 rule. You shouldn't be eating wheat more than 10% of your diet anyways. If there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that wheat is massively irritating to your gut. And if your gut gets overwhelmed, that's where you develop wheat belly, where you're massively inflamed, you deal with bloating, you deal with brain fog, and wheat just keeps contributing to the problem. And if you've tried cutting out wheat and still feel like it hasn't solved the issue, you can go through this video here where I walk you through a 4-part gut microbiome reset. I appreciate you for sticking with me through the video. If you want more science-backed frameworks like this, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.